AM, and when I press go live, it should go live. Seems like it is, right?
I have no clue.
Yeah. 'Cause it's the first time when I watch it in the browser. Previously, I had the program that had it inside of itself.
All right.
So now I'm looking at that interface. Yeah. All right. Whatever.
Yeah, it's going a bit behind, so it's gonna be all right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So hello.
Yeah. Hey.
And yeah, usually I just ask one question or two questions, if you will. What brings you to Latvia, and what are your impressions so far?
Yeah. So first of all, about your first question. So I love traveling, and I have actually traveled a bit of Europe before coming here, like in 2016. And even in India, I keep on traveling and meeting a lot of people. So if you talk about the western part of Europe, I've actually seen quite a few of it.
Mm-hmm.
And even the eastern ones like Czech Republic and Budapest and Croatia and the southern parts, I've seen it. And this was one of the regions that I was interested in. And as an Indian, like a lot of Indians don't really know about this place. Like even when I was talking to my parents and I was saying that I'm coming to Estonia and Lithuania and Latvia, and they were like, where the hell that is?
Sure, sounds reasonable.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to come here and see how it is and how different it is from the rest of Europe and the rest of the world. So that was my point, and that was my reason for coming here.
And how did you find out about it?
Well, it has just been, this is my second day here,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it is quite impressive. It's quite beautiful, and the city is beautiful. I was really surprised by it. And I can see a bit of impressions of Russia and a bit of,
Hey, Soviet Union all the way.
yeah,
Why not?
and also of a lot of Germany and like the western parts of Europe. I could see it in the architecture, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, culturally and historically, of course. Nowadays, you would mostly guess that it's yeah, from post-Soviet times, right? But beforehand, I mean, we were invaded in the 14th century by Germans.
Oh, right.
So yeah, and then it's from there it's different mixes of
Yeah.
other countries coming in and out.
Yeah, and the last time it was probably just the Russians till the 90s.
Well, I mean they switched in the Second World War. It was for a time Germans, and then Russians, and I think yeah, before that it was just us, right? And before then it was Russians. Before then it was Germans. So
a
yeah.
lot of them, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think many people still to this day have either direct ancestors or direct relatives in in, let's say, Russia or Germany, or at least they have the surnames of
Yeah.
Russian or German ancestors or Polish ancestors even. So
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, and even looking at the language, it feels like the script feels very Russian because I can't make it
The
out.
Latvian language? Are you sure? Maybe you just saw some Cyrillic words.
I have no idea because I just walking around the streets and just looking at the signs.
Hmm.
Sometimes it feels, and it feels, of course, it feels a bit more Eastern European. But sometimes when I read something, it feels Russian. Maybe the letters,
Well, the letters would be the same as an Indian, right?
as the what?
As an Indian, because Indian has what? Sanskrit, right?
Right now we have Hindi. Like Sanskrit is like Latin. It's like the root language of all the languages in
Yeah,
India. But I'm from the northern part of India, so we speak Hindi.
yeah. All right.
But there are like different languages. There is in south there is Tamil, and there is Malayalam, there is Kannada.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of languages. But you could say that Sanskrit is the language from which all of these were derived.
All right.
Yeah.
So you say you still find that some writings on the street look similar to Russian, because I would guess maybe they were just Russian,
Yeah, could be.
right?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for me it's all the same.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't speak. I don't really speak Russian. I don't really understand the script because it's a totally different script.
Well, but you wouldn't say that English words look like Russian to you,
No,
right?
not at all.
So
Yeah.
I mean, we use the Latin alphabet; they use the Cyrillic one. So
Alright.
I wouldn't guess if you would see any Latvian word, you wouldn't be inclined to think that it is Russian. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Like,
look at it for instance, like this text, right?
yeah.
Does
Yeah.
anything
No,
resemble?
this is very Eastern European.
Well, it's just the Latin alphabet.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, you said you traveled a lot. So what is the comparison for you? You say Eastern European. From my perspective, it seems to me that Eastern Europe is mostly becoming sort of like Western Europe. Do you see any differences or major well, not real commonalities, but still anything similar, anything different?
Well, it's because it's still Europe, and I could still, because of the architecture or probably the food and the people, the way they dress, and everything, it's still very Europe. Like we could just say the European Union is just
Yeah.
one big country, because it's still, but it.
You bring up an interesting aspect. Once I talked to an Indian guy, right? But what does that mean, basically? Because he said, well, India is not really a country. It's more like 30 countries combined.
That's true. I would say that as well.
So wouldn't you say that that might be some way for a European to understand how India is structured? To say India is basically a more formalized European Union.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that because, like I said, that I'm from the northern parts of India.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you compare the culture we have from where I come from
Yeah.
to the one down the south, it is still India. You could say that, but the movies that they watch, the language that they speak, the food even that they eat, and the way they dress, it's still different. Like, if you just took a flight from where I am from
Mhm.
to the direct south of India,
Yep.
you'll realize that there's a difference.
You know what? Every time countries who have, let's say, such a magnitude that they have a northern part and a southern part,
Yeah.
every time it's all. I think every time I hear almost the same, that the southern part is more relaxed, more, well, more hospitable. I'm not sure if that would be the right word, but basically more heartfelt. That's what yeah. But also always less wealthy.
Well, in India, I don't think that's the case because
Really?
the southern part is more wealthy.
Really?
Yeah, because
Is Bangalore there?
what?
Bangalore? Is
Bangalore is in the south, yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and also historically, because if you look at the Indian map, the southern parts are the ones which are closer to the ports, and the
Mhm.
sea is in the southern parts. So historically, it was the route for all the trades, like 200 or 300 years back.
Hmm.
So these were the regions that developed before the northern parts. But now, like, there are certain spots in the northern parts which are equally rich,
All right.
but the southern parts, and especially the coastline, is like where the most of the wealth is. But it's the poorer parts in India are usually the ones which are like down the middle, because first of all, it's really barren, and it's the culture, the agriculture is not very hospitable, I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
and none of the good industries are like established over there. So like down the center, there are like Madhya Pradesh. Then there is like there's a region called Bihar, which is not exactly the center, but like center east. So these are the poorer regions. But like up the north, there is the Himalayas. Again, like it's not easy to like make industries over there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still it is reliable on tourism, but it's still doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you so like the wealthier parts, I would say it's the southern part or like the boundaries, and then some certain bits in the northern part.
And who are the ones who fight with the Pakistanis?
Well, if you like, as a whole, the whole Indian country is like not very positive about Pakistan.
Really?
Yeah, not at
Why?
all.
Why? I mean, if I would be in India, to the east, why would I care about Pakistan to the west?
Well, it's mostly just the politics of it, because all the politicians are like, the whole of their political campaign is based against Pakistan. All the movies are against Pakistan.
Wait a second. India makes movies against Pakistan?
Like a lot of war movies about the history, because even right now there is so much going on between these two countries that, and if you ask a Pakistani, he'd probably say the same things, like, because the things are still so negative in between them. Because if you look at the news, there's still so much going on there. Like 2 years back, there was sort of a surgical strike where the Indian army had to go inside Pakistan and kill some of the soldiers, because they killed some of the soldiers back in India.
Wait a second, but is that really true? I heard that. Who said that? Somebody said that if wait a second. What was the? So the algorithm was, if an Indian kills a Pakistani, then the Pakistanis have to kill 3 Indians just because of the proportion.
Well, I haven't heard of such a thing, but
But it sounds to me that you said that there was retaliation.
yeah, there was retaliation, like that
And
goes
then-
on and on. And
Why?
well, first of all, have you heard of Kashmir?
Yeah, I've heard of the conflict region of Kashmir,
Yeah.
but always just thought Kashmir is just type of some fabric.
No,
that's it.
No, I think it's very real. I was there 2 years back. I backpacked around Kashmir,
Yeah.
and I could just talk to a lot of people, and I think that there is still a lot of negativity going on around that region. And
But is
Pakistan
it
once said,
is it because that they don't have anything other to do?
the people,
Yeah.
of course, that is one of the important reasons for that. Because the region is suffering because of the economics of it, and because of the economics, people are asking for questions. Why is not everything going the way it should?
Mm-hmm.
And then because the people are so anxious and asking questions, there are politicians on both the sides who are like making people believe that it's the politicians from the other side who are making this happen.
But Pakistanis are basically the same people as Indians, right? Am I correct?
Historically, yes, but like religion-wise, they are different. The majority of the population in Pakistan is Muslims.
All right.
India is a secular country, but still we have 80% Hindus.
Mm-hmm.
But historically they are
what's
the same.
so what's the big difference between Hindus and Muslims? Hindus like cows, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
And Muslims don't eat pigs.
Yeah, Muslims. Yeah, but it's essentially a
There you
very,
go.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
difference.
But essentially, they are two very different religions. But in India, they have found a way to coexist.
So Islam has one prophet, one God, right?
Yeah.
Hindus have no prophet but a lot of gods, right?
Millions of gods. Yeah.
What's the point with that?
Well, first of all, I'm myself not. I don't consider myself a religious person. I'm not. I come from a Hindu family,
Mhm.
but I don't think of myself as a Hindu.
So did your parents do a bad job? Not raising you a Hindu?
You could say that probably. This
Did
was
they
the way I
try?
had to go.
Did they try?
Of course they try. My mom is still very religious. My dad is so and so, but she wants me to be a Hindu, but I can't. But
Do you mean just because you don't feel like that would be something of use?
yeah, you could say that. But this is not like the principles. What it teaches, I don't really believe in those things. In some of the points, I actually like say that it's good.
Mhm.
These are the principles that could be a moral light in your life.
Mhm.
But in general, I don't see the point of fixing myself to or binding myself to a religion.
So what's the what is the one of the let's say funniest things of Hinduism? You say that some principles you don't get really
Yeah.
along with. So
Yeah.
what would be the most quirky ones?
Well, if you just have to say like the funny ones, I have one, but I might get in trouble with this. But
Not in Latvia.
yeah,
Not in Latvia.
but like there is something like because they worship God.
One?
They worship cow. They
Wow.
worship cow.
Oh,
In certain regions of India, like the ones which are rural or still very conservative and old-fashioned,
hmm.
they still drink cow piss.
For religious
Yeah.
reasons,
Yeah.
or maybe it was just because they don't have any water.
No, I think they have.
Well,
plenty of
drinking
water.
water.
That's probably not the reason, but that's because of.
Also, so what would be the point of drinking cow piss?
They just think it's holy.
Ah.
Yeah.
So anybody have any problems with that? I mean, physically.
I don't think so. Like I've not heard of people getting sick with it, but it's just something that I refuse to do. But it's
Yeah.
not that I've been offered that, because my family still lives in the cities, and it's not something they do. But when we go to the villages, because we are still connected to our roots in the villages, and we still visit our family old house in the villages.
All right.
There are some religious ceremonies over there, and people still offer
Mhm.
each other.
But they drink also milk, right?
Of course, they drink a lot of milk. Yeah, India is probably the largest producer of milk in the world.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Shouldn't China be the largest one?
I'm not sure, but I think it is India.
All right, good for you then.
Yeah.
And you probably then consume also most of it. You don't really export it, probably.
Yeah, probably. We drink a lot of milk.
Does it mean that there's a lot of farting going on over there?
Yeah. I
Oh,
would say.
everybody is just everything fine with lactose.
Yeah, probably just a lot of farting in the metros, especially.
Because I would imagine that going to India means really either going to a city where it seems everything, the infrastructure is in place,
Yeah.
or going to the countryside where probably nothing is in place,
Well,
whereas everything's like it was 300 years ago.
yeah. Well, you are right in certain aspects, but even in the cities, there are still, like, in certain cities, like, some of the areas are so well defined and so properly done
Hmm.
that it feels like United States or like Europe.
Mhm.
But in the same city, there are still suburbs or still some areas which, if you look at it, you'd be like, this cannot be happening.
Because in a way, I would say if, let's say, India would like to have a nice tourist-friendly image,
Yeah.
right? I would say that the Western media is not doing you guys any favor. I mean, when it comes to India,
Yeah.
because I don't know how. It's one of those things that you go on YouTube and somehow some video is recommended to you,
Yeah.
right? So I clicked, and it was, I think it was a Vice piece, but I'm not sure. But it was an American episode or something like that just showed that people in Mumbai, I think it was Mumbai. Is it by the sea?
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably Mumbai, where they have such a problem with public toilets or toilets in general that they go and just dump in the sea. Right, and then they just show the massive the dumps all over the seashore,
Yeah.
and then also they show people who just go a little bit into the sea, just squat, and
Yeah.
do their dirty deed, and then go away.
Yeah.
Right, so I would say these type of scenarios don't really make anybody go visit, right?
Yeah.
But I guess it's just in some particular places.
Yeah, but I can't say that it's not true. But
Well, but it's because of the problem with toilets, I guess.
we have certain
infrastructure
issues.
is
infrastructure
insufficient.
issue with public toilets and sewer systems, and sanitation is a bit of something that we should look into. But like you said, the Western media is not doing any favors. But I think like India as a travel destination, or like more certainly as a backpacking destination, is certainly growing in the last 5 or 10 years, because just comparing with the number of people who've been turning into India and the number of backpackers we see in certain regions like Rajasthan, or like take the Himalayas, or like the coastlines, there it is full of foreigners, and a lot of Russians actually visit India during the winter time, because it's probably just too cold there and India is still hot. And they visit Goa, which is like a party place.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of people actually visit the Himalayas. So I think like it is doing good for itself, just if you look at the growth. So I think like the tourism part is growing. It's really growing, because as just compared to the number of people which I would see traveling to India like 10 years back
Hmm?
to compare to the number of people who are turning up right now, it's a major difference.
You know what the funniest thing about that video was? But down below in the comments, somebody had written, UN Superpower 2020.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, but it's other than that, I guess your type of cultural mix is probably one of the most beneficial to the 21st century, I guess, because you guys have you have everything to gain and basically nothing to lose from the technical innovations
Yeah.
and everything that's related to them.
Yeah, you could say that. And like there's a joke going on everywhere in the world, and this is the joke that I keep making up even in my university, that I'm just here to steal your job. Because all the jobs are just going to India. And it's like you should just visit India because all your jobs are actually visiting them.
So what do you do in France?
Well, I'm studying management, business management.
And how did you decide to go to France from India? I would guess you have pretty nice schools also in India.
Yeah, we do. But I just wanted more international experience because I've done my graduation, and after that I worked for 2 years, and India is good and it's all right, but I just wanted to gain something from an international point of view, and I wanted to learn some new languages. And right now I'm trying to learn German as well as French, and just being in France, and because it's still a very international surrounding, I have people from so many different countries, and this was something that I really, really wanted to do. So that's why I decided to do this.
But did you have anything other in the mix? Let's say Finland, for instance, to go to study there.
I just like went on the internet and I talked to some of the people, and I think France had some of the good colleges, and it was like the visa was really suitable for us because after doing my masters, I would still get 2 years there. So
And it's particularly for France.
it's just for France and
Mhm.
and other countries. Let's say, because I was trying England because my language would still be good over there,
Hmm?
but it had such a horrible visa for Indians. So I just
What?
Yeah, that's surprising.
But England is full of Indians, right?
Yeah, there's some that's the reason now they have
Yeah, well,
a
maybe.
bad visa for Indians.
Yeah, maybe
But
that.
yeah, France and even Germany had a good visa for Indians. So it is something that as a non-European I have to like, keep in the mix and keep as a deciding factor, the visa. Yeah, and France seems interesting.
If you had gone to Spain, you probably would just blend right in.
Yeah,
Right?
probably. Yeah, when I was actually backpacking Europe, and I just meet people and they just say, "Where are you from?" And I just say, "I'm from Portugal," and I just make up a football.
Sounds believable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just try to do a bit of the accent, but probably just people just like doubt for like 2 seconds, and they say, "No, you're Indian." But yeah, I just keep doing this from time to time.
So how's it going in France?
It has been really good. Yeah.
Have you seen any of the protests?
No, I was really like trying to keep myself away from it.
What?
But
You said you wanted an international experience,
Yeah.
and then you just avoided.
Yeah. Because
What's
one
up?
of my friends, he had a smoke bomb thrown at him.
Well, he should have been to throw the smoke bomb in the first place. So
Yeah. So like even the university, they were just sending warnings: don't come to university today, just stay at your home. And the place where I live in and the place where my university is, like I have to cross a bus stand from there.
Mhm.
And for some reason bus stands are always the most creepiest places where all the creeps just live. And it was just almost every day on the bus stand there was something going on, and I couldn't actually attend university for 2 or 3 days. It was good. I could do my work from home.
So would you say that you are not really interested even in seeing the all the, I don't know how to call them, protests in person?
Well, I was, you could say I was scared.
Because you probably want some of the French culture, right? So
Yeah.
that would be an option.
That's actually a big part of the French culture.
Seems like it.
Every
It
other
seems
day
like
there's something closed, and somebody protesting against something. Someday there are banks are closed because the union just said the banks.
You can call me prejudiced, but my reasoning always is because they are lazy.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I would have to make all the excuses in the world not to work, yeah, why not? Yeah, I'm offended by your tax. I'm
Yeah.
offended by everything.
Yeah, French people are like one of the laziest. I couldn't get a lot of like we have to do a lot of paperwork to get there and to settle in to get the work permits. Half of them are still pending, and I've been here for like 6 months. Yeah.
Well, I would imagine since it's a old, well, quote unquote old European country, I would imagine their bureaucratic process is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as
But
India.
yeah, I wanted to say, but India has also a reputation for bureaucracy. But you probably got that from England.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Have you any have you any information about how life was before English people came to India and took it as a colony?
Well, yeah, I am really interested in history, and I have read my share of history books. And well, it seems, but maybe I always keep this in mind that because it's an Indian writer and it's from an Indian perspective, it could be a
Sure.
bit more biased. But it seems to be that India was doing good because at that time agriculture was still very important part of the world business, and India, as we know, is a big agricultural hub. So
Mhm.
India was a big exporter of a lot of things. So the economy was doing really good, and that's probably one of the reasons that people were rich, and that's probably one of the reasons why the Britishers decided to come to India. But again, I would say that it's something that's still going on, that even though everything was going really good and Indians were rich and everything was way better than it is today, India was still very divided. And that again could be said is one of the reasons why the Britishers captured India quite easily, because they just came in and they just said to one of the kings that I will help you defeat this king,
Mhm.
and you give me this much money and you give me this much military. And then they defeated this king, and then the Britishers went to the second king and said, I'll help you defeat the first one,
Mhm.
just give me a lot of money and a lot of power.
Were the kings called Maharaj or something like that?
Maharajas are certain kings from the Rajasthan part of India, which is the desert. So that particular area is known for like bringing up good warriors, and historically they have some of the best kings, like in terms of like war skills. And so Maharajas are some people from the desert part, the Rajasthan part, which are like, you could say, they are known for their fighting valor and their fighting skills and their bravery. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So how do they come up in the desert then?
That's where they were born in, probably.
Is it still today? Because I've heard that India, one of the biggest social problems in India is that they had, and somewhere even today have, the caste system.
Yeah, it's still there. It's going. It's going.
How did that came about? Because it's more complicated than any other feudal system I've heard.
Yeah.
I mean, in Latvia you also had some type of castes, right? But it was less complicated. I mean, it was, you had the baron, and then maybe some people who were just born into servitude to that baron, right? But they could also buy their way out in a way. So yeah, it wasn't like the untouchables or anything like that.
Yeah, but like you asked me, how did it come about? Because the Indian culture or the Hindu religion and the culture that we follow has been almost the same for the last 3,000 years. So I can't really say when it actually started. But if you look at the old Hindu religious textbooks, like they're called the Vedas, is
it poetry?
It's not poetry. It's just scriptures. It's religious
I
text.
somehow thought the Vedas were always is like a poetic text.
A lot of people just, when they read the Vedas, they just sing it in a poetic way.
No, really.
But it's just a religious text, and there are like 4 Vedas, and like, but they still mention the caste system. So I can say, and the Vedas are old. They are much more old than Jesus Christ. They are probably 3,000 years old. And it was still mentioned there, so you could say it was still there 3,000 years back. But
does it say anything about aliens?
like, there are conspiracy theories, like the way, because a lot of Hindus and a lot of extremist groups in India, they want people to believe that the Vedas are the source of all the knowledge in the world.
Yeah.
And they
convenient.
And that's how they like brainwash people, and they have been telling a lot of people that it has all all the knowledge that you need about nuclear power, about chemistry, and it has. But they say you can't actually see it because you're not really smart enough to understand it because it's hidden. But yeah, it probably must be saying about aliens as well, as far as they're concerned. So yeah, it talks about the caste system. But as I can say that India, since the last 20 years, it's been really globalizing, because before that we were more of a socialist state. But
Socialist state?
yeah,
In what way?
we didn't allow for exports FDIs.
What?
Yeah, till the 1990s, because India,
Are you
like
sure?
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like before, like the because India got its independence in the 1947.
Oh, wait a second. Was it related to the fact that, I don't know, China had some policy that hindered foreign capital, but they changed it in the 1980s and started the process of China had started to become the major outsourcing and manufacturing building country. Was it related to that? And so
It
India
could be.
wanted to
Yeah,
have
it
a
could
similar.
It could be because till the 1990s, India's economy started to really suffer. And because in the 1947s we got our independence, and India actually decided to follow the footsteps of Russia and be more socialist about its development. And in 30 years, it actually realized that this is actually not working for us. Then they decided,
You realized it sooner than they.
yeah, yeah. And then we opened up, and now it's like it's an open economy. We have all the brands in the world. We have all the companies in India. So, and because of that, like if
Do you have any NBA players?
we not right now, but a lot of cricket players.
Yeah, that's a quirky thing, right? Because the English people introduced cricket
Yeah.
to their colonies, but
Yeah.
outside of it, what?
No, yeah.
Cricket?
And what's funnier is that England introduced it to all the colonies, and now the colonies beat them up really bad in cricket.
Yeah, I mean, you have a bigger population.
Yeah, that's
Do you play rugby as well?
no, not at all.
No,
It's
no.
it's just cricket. Like the bigger ones are cricket. Badminton is really growing. Badminton is a good sport. Football is growing. It's still not like at there yet, but if you look at the FIFA rankings, it was way bad in like 7 years back, but it's certainly in the top hundreds now. It wasn't even there, but now it's like 90s or 80s. It's probably growing.
Yeah. I mean, you have a big population
Yeah.
pool. It's just a matter of time, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's funny that I always joke around with my friends that how is it possible that India cannot find 11 rugby players in a population of 1.5 billions?
Well,
Yeah, but that's just a joke. Yeah.
yeah. But do you have any major schools that could actually do such things?
That is actually the problem, because the infrastructure is where we lag behind. Cricket is a different thing, because cricket is what football is to, I don't know about Latvia, but like what football is to Germany and France. Like every kid, you're not even an Indian if you don't know how to play cricket.
Oof. Do you like cricket?
I've played a lot of cricket. I have represented my district in cricket. And
That's not the answer, though.
yeah, that's what I was good. Like as a child, when I grew up, I followed a lot of cricket, but in the last 4 or 5 years, I've like stopped following it as much, and now I follow a lot more of football.
Really?
Yeah, but cricket it's still there. I watch it from time to time. There's the league that happens every year, and I follow the league. But because in India, like everybody watches every match, and a cricket match can actually last up to 5 days. My dad is
Really?
yeah, and my dad is one of those people who would actually watch every minute of the 5-day match. But I can't really do that.
But cricket is an elitist thing, right? It's supposed to be aristocratic.
When it was introduced in the 1800s or 1900, it was aristocratic, but right now it's not. In India, at least, it's not.
So it's not expensive to play.
No, not at all. Everybody in India plays cricket. Each person, every person. Yeah.
Come on, not a billion people. I mean, would you say that? Oh, by the way, just totally random.
Yeah.
How come India takes the cake for all esoteric people in the world? Because of the Vedas and Hinduism?
But what kind of people?
Every person who is esoteric, meaning that they want to be spiritual,
Yeah.
right? And that they have, I don't know, some magic crystals or something like that. They somehow find their way and their argumentation to India.
That's true.
It's always India.
And that's very interesting, because yesterday I found a person here in Riga who actually was selling Indian religious books. Not even selling, he was like giving them and asking for donations, and he just
That was probably the, how do they call themselves? Krishna, Shiva.
You're right. Yeah, Krishna.
Hare Krishnas. Yeah, Hare Krishnas. And
And
they're not even Indian, right?
No, they
Hare Krishnas were made in San Francisco or something like that.
It's an organization. It's the biggest organization.
Yeah, I mean,
so I don't even know where it was
I think
made.
Hare Krishna is an organization made in the 1960s in America.
Yeah. But this particular guy, he just came up to me because he saw that I was Indian. Then he gave me a big lecture of why I was in Europe, because it's a sinful place and I should just go back to India because it's spiritual. Yeah. And then
Right.
he was like, "What are you doing?" And I said that I study, and before that I worked. And he was like, "You are so much full of worldly things. You should just give this up." And he just
Man.
gave me a 10 minutes lecture on just like
On the street?
yeah. And
Nice one.
yeah, and he just gave me a big lecture on how I'm not following my roots properly, and then he just left.
So he said you should be in India?
Yeah, he said I should be in India and I should follow Krishna and I should not seek worldly pleasures like earning money. And
Well, wait a second. Krishna is one of the gods, right?
yeah, he's one of the gods.
But no real and well, not no real ban from him about worldly pleasures, or is there?
I don't think so. Like again, like it's the Vedas and a lot of other books, because of Krishna there's the Bhagavad Gita. It's his book, you could say, and it says a lot of
Bhagavad
things,
Gita.
and people interpret
Is
them
it
in
the
different ways.
The dude who, oh man, that it gets complicated. The dude who was at least involved in the Manhattan Project, I believe, the ones who made the nuclear bomb in America, the first during the Second World War.
Yeah.
I think Oppenheimer. He in one interview said some weird text,
Yeah,
and
you're
then
right.
somebody said that, oh, that's from the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's that all about? Destroyer of worlds or something like that?
Destroyer of worlds is a different god. It's not Krishna. It's Shiv. Like that's another god. We
All
have a
right.
god for everything.
Yeah.
Because
So let me just quickly. I think that the video is on YouTube.
but no, you're right. Like because I've read about that as well.
Oppenheimer speech. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. And that's supposed to be Bhagavad Gita. So
yeah, that's because it
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
all right, they just make nuclear blasts. And so where's the text?
In the dead silence of the morning at 5:29:45.
So I guess
He knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
all right.
This dude's taking things very seriously.
Well, at the first sight of the nuclear explosion, I guess you could become a little bit
Spiritual.
worried. Yeah. So, but what's that all about? That the Hindu and Indian religion traditions have sort of impacted the Westerners in as much that you can meet a dude on the Latvian street and he says you should go to India and follow your
Yeah.
true meaning.
Maybe because it's so different from maybe Christianity, or because if you go to some of the religious places in India, you could just see how much religion is still an important part of the life. And I would say it's still, and in these regions, it's still so much a part of the tourism as well.
You mean it's just a gimmick?
Parts of it, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. So like a lot of people when they come over there, especially the Westerners, they see how much and like the people who are trying to sell it present a very flowery picture of it.
Right.
Yeah, and some of the people are just too foolish to actually, I would say, get into it. I wouldn't say all of the people who are doing it are like trying to sell it or like trying to earn money out of it, but certainly like because I've been to a lot of these places and they're just trying to earn the bucks. And they're just trying to manipulate the white people, and because they see them as easy money. Yeah, and probably they are.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Because really, Indian people somehow or another are associated with, or India in general is associated with spirituality.
Yeah.
And vegetarianism.
Yeah, we have a lot of vegetarians. Yes.
Is it because of the religion?
Yeah, because like if you're a staunch Hindu supporter or like a Hindu follower,
yeah,
a lot of people like the upper caste, like the castes we talk about, the highest caste, they don't indulge themselves in meat or eating the non-vegetarian food if you are like really devoted to it. But
because it is forbidden?
Yeah, it forbids you. Like the highest caste, it forbids you.
Really?
Yeah. But again, I should say that a lot of people actually just eat a lot of meat because a lot of people are just not as religious.
So would you say how many people, let's say 1.2 billion people live in India?
Yeah.
So out of them, how many are really religious? Is it even 20 million?
I would say 20-25% are really religious. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The young people usually aren't. And then again, there are spots in the country, like certain cities or certain states, which you would say are more religious than the other ones. Because like you mentioned, Bangalore, I wouldn't really expect a person from Bangalore to be really religious because it's just corporates and all of them are engineers and they don't really have time for that. And because I've been there and they aren't religious, I know.
Is it like they say it is, that Bangalore is almost like America?
No, it's not. That would be painting.
Because I heard that they have almost the same golf courses as in California, and just because they chose the place just because of the weather.
Yeah, that's true. They chose the place because of the weather, because the weather is amazing, and a lot of things actually are really good, like the infrastructures, the buildings, like you said, the golf course, even the societies the people live in are so beautiful and so good. But again, like I said, there are still spots over there which are so like they need a lot of improvement. But you could visit Bangalore and see look at certain things and say that it is really good. This is top class. And even I would say New Delhi and Mumbai in certain places.
Which one is the capital?
New Delhi.
New Delhi.
Yeah.
So where's the old Delhi?
Old Delhi is inside New Delhi. It's like the old town in Latvia.
Ah.
Yeah. Old town in Riga.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a small part because it was the old Delhi, because Delhi again is a very old city, one of the oldest in the world. So this is where this was the old Delhi, which later expanded and grew away. And so the New Delhi is just everything, and old Delhi is the smaller part inside New Delhi.
And the most famous river was Ganges?
Ganges, yeah, Ganga.
So what's that relation about? Because I've heard that they try to... Here's the thing. Some even people from Latvia have traveled to India because they search for the meaning in life or something like that, right? Yeah. So they go to Varanasi or something like that.
Yeah, Varanasi.
Yeah, and they bathe in the Ganges.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who says that? Why should they do that?
The Hindu religion says that because Ganges again is a very holy river, and it's said in the scriptures that it is. But again, I don't confer to it. It's a beautiful river, I would say that, and I really love Ganges, but not because of a religious aspect. Yeah. It's aesthetically it's a very beautiful river. But again, as you talked about Varanasi, like it is, because I come from the northern parts, which is the Himalayas. It's still really beautiful over there. It's so clear and it's so.
Where is Varanasi?
Varanasi is down towards the plains, and this is where it starts to get actually really dirty because of all the religious things, because people are bathing in it, and then there's a lot of religious ceremonies happening in it. It starts to be a bit more dirty. But in the northern parts, it's, if you visit the Himalayas and then look at the Ganges, it's there where it's in its like true glory and true power.
Hmm.
So if you ever visit India, I would say if you want to see the Ganges, you should go up and not go to Varanasi and visit the Himalayas and see the Ganges.
So Varanasi is a place
In the
somewhere.
plains. In it's southern, like it's still north, but
Yep.
it's not the Himalayas. It's towards southern than the most northern part.
What's the position of India towards Tibet?
India is really positive towards Tibet. Like India,
So why do you guys don't just tell the Chinese, "Hey, back off"? Or
Because
let's look at Kashmir. You don't want any of that.
yeah, because everybody knows you can't really just say that to China, because
Wait a second, but what are the relations between Indian and Chinese people? I would imagine quite friendly.
the people are friendly, the armies and the governments not so friendly. Because on one side we have India and Pakistan, and with Pakistan it's not friendly at all. Neither the government, neither the army, neither the people, nothing. For myself, I am pretty okay with the Pakistanis. I have a lot of people in my university who are Pakistanis. I think they're really chilled out people.
Yeah.
But it's the governments which are really negative. But with the Chinese, it's the other Pakistan we have. Like it's the other pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not as negative as the Indian-Pakistan relations, because we are dependent on them because of the economics. They are dependent on us because of the trade and everything. But still, it's not a very friendly relationship, because again, they want some of the regions that we have. And
For what? Because those regions can't be nice in a sense of good for agriculture or for some. They're probably mountainous
Yeah.
all over the place.
I think like it's the one of the regions is they are really strategic positions in
For what?
For military, like these
Just to see further,
Yeah.
farther.
you could say that. I think like it's just a matter of pride as well, because one of
Do the Chinese have pride?
I would say so.
Because it's a collectivist system. It's a collectivist
You are right. It's
country.
a collectivist country, but if you look at the amount of aggression that it does, not only with India but even in the southern China Sea with small countries.
Well, look, all sea disputes, those I can get, because
Yeah.
usually it's related to who controls the waters through which, let's say, commerce goes, and
Yeah.
so it's more, let's say, a mercantile interest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Those I get, right?
Yeah.
But nobody will trade across some big mountains.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
just not
I think
gonna
it's just a
happen.
matter of pride, because these reasons are really beautiful. The other reason could be that, but I don't see any of the parties in these conflicts backing down. Everybody just, this is mine.
But it's up to a point, right? Because let's say you are 21st century generation, right?
Yeah.
Right? You don't look at those things as somebody who was still in the 20th century generation.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's true.
So I would say you and the next generation, deal is done. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who wants those mountains?
Yeah.
Just go and get them.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I visited them and they're pretty beautiful. And the thing with India is
But
that
it's cold, right?
it's really cold. Yeah, but the thing with one of the reasons that India actually gives for being so aggressive about its territories is that because, like you said, India is so multiculturalist and there are so many cultures. There are still, for that reason, there are still so many regions inside India which still want freedom in random places. So it says that if we just
What do you mean? Like separate themselves from?
some of them just want to separate themselves. There is some of the states which identify themselves with another country or another state. So
Really?
yeah, because it's such a multicultural area that it's bound to happen, I guess. But so India, one of the reasons that India gives is that if I just let one of them just take whatever they want, the other day someone else will do it, and the politicians will just feed into it, the local ones, and this is how the whole of the India will break down. And
India is usually called the biggest democracy in the world, right?
it is, yeah, it is
But-
the biggest democracy in the world.
But isn't it also the most corrupt one, or one of those most corrupt?
One of the corrupted one. Yeah, that's true.
Coincidence?
I
Well-
can't really understand
well,
why it is, but it
What
is.
would you say? You would be interested sometimes in going into politics?
Not politics, but I was really interested in joining the bureaucracy, as you could say. But it's still, again, very corrupted. And it is almost impossible to get into it because a lot of people actually just go in it. There are certainly a lot of people who actually want to go in it and do a lot of good, but a lot of people actually just want to go in it because it's such easy money because of the corruption. And for whatever reasons, and because of the Indian population, there is just, because the exam that I'm talking about has I don't even know how to say that number, like 15 lakhs. 15 lakhs would be 150 and 4 more zeros. How do you say that?
150,000?
Yeah, applicants every year. And
For what?
for the services, the government services.
For the civil service?
And these are the applicants, and the number of ones who get selected are just like the first 1,500.
Wow.
So it's almost impossible to get. And I dedicated one of my years into it, but like it, obviously it didn't like turn out to be that good. But yeah, like
It sounds like it should be like an elite club.
yeah, it is.
So are those people who get in quite badasses?
You could say that you have to really work really hard, because I know a lot of people, and the ones who actually crack this exam, get successful, are the ones who have left everything they do and prepared for it for like 3 years or 4 years of their lives and do nothing else. I could say that.
So what's the end game for them to be? Can they become rich?
If you like take the negative path, and if, like you said, corruption, you could really be rich. But I would say that a lot of them actually do it for that reason only. But then there are certain who are really driven and who really want to work, and these are the ones who don't really get rich, but they are comfortable as hell, even if they're not rich, because it's the government jobs and everything is really like, you have everything. You'll always have a house. You'll always have a good pension. Your children will be sent to the best schools. You'll have medical facilities. So even if you're not rich,
because you get a nice salary, or because the government takes care of you?
Government takes care of it.
Damn.
Yeah.
So why would they provide you with housing?
That's the deal with it. That's because it's such a
How
good,
many hours do they work in a day? 8?
8, 9. Yeah.
Really? Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. But that's like the biggest Indian.
Now that
job.
sounds actually socialist, yes, because in the Soviet Union they had something similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
The workplace was actually providing you with housing.
Yeah. India has a lot of socialist roots still. It's moving away from it, but it does still have a very socialist structure.
I guess the red color wouldn't be so welcomed for political reasons, right? Because I would imagine red is more related to some religious symbol or something
It's
like that.
orange. The Hinduism is orange. Islam is green. These are the big.
But wait a second, does red not mean anything in Hinduism or something like that?
It could be used.
Because in
place of
China it
orange.
means good luck or something like that, right?
Yeah. I don't think red, but a lot of people actually just use red instead of orange. So you could just say it's synonymous with Hinduism, but it's the orange color which is more Hindu.
What does that significantly mean?
Purity, I guess, or something.
Orange.
Orange. It's just
Real.
the
You
color.
guys must like the Dutch then.
yeah, you say. But like if looking at this standpoint of politics, red is still the color of the communist parties, or
Ah,
yeah,
all right. So
yeah,
seems like then that's not a big deal then.
yeah. It's not.
Yeah. So tell me about, what do you know about Bollywood?
Of course, like I have, like every other North Indian, or like every other Indian, I have grown up on Bollywood.
Because to me, when I see some fragments of it looks cheesy.
You're right, but again, like
Is it supposed to be, or is it just a cultural difference?
yeah, I'll tell you a couple of things. Firstly, like the new age Bollywood, like there are still like, I would say there are two different kinds of Bollywoods. One is like really arty, really intelligent as of now, and like, but these are the ones, of course, the foreigners wouldn't know about or wouldn't be interested in seeing. And then there's the other one, which is all flashy and big cars and big houses and people singing and dancing and with no real story. So both these Bollywoods still exist, and both are doing good. But again, like you said that you saw some of it, I'm pretty sure that what you saw wasn't actually Bollywood, because I see a lot of my friends, or a lot of people from outside India, who don't really have a good idea. Because like I said, like South has its own industry. They watch their own movies, so they don't watch Bollywood. They have uh, a different industry for the movies, and all, like, because the South is so strange. They have different languages in each state, so they have a different movie industry for each of the state.
Oh, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So do you have anything that would say, oh, this one makes the best movies?
I would say Bollywood makes the best movie because one of the reasons is the budget and the biggest movie audience, you could say, because it has a big budget. It can at least try to be something more, be experimental, and because it has such a vast audience that there is everything for almost everyone.
So would you say, well, is actually movie producing a private enterprise?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it
for
is
profit then.
Yeah,
It's totally for profit, right?
it is.
And do they make a profit?
a lot of profit? Yeah, it is one of the
But
biggest
but
industries.
India
in
is
the world.
not so rich, right?
No,
I
India.
mean, Indian people, if they want to go to the movies, it's not a everyday occurrence, right?
No, it is.
Really?
I would say, like, I wouldn't say that Indian people are not rich. The thing is that the gap between the people is really huge. Like, if you just check the stats, India has probably one of the highest number of the millionaires or billionaires in the world. But then again, to balance that up, there are still a lot of homeless people as well.
Yeah.
So India is a country which has a lot of rich people. It has a lot of middle class people, and it still has a lot of poor people. So as a whole, you could say it's not still one of the richest countries in the world, but I wouldn't say that it doesn't have rich people. It has one of, like, New Delhi, a lot of, like, Mumbai, Bangalore. A lot of these cities have filthy rich people.
But do they actually spend most of their money in India?
Could be, yeah. Yeah, there are, in New Delhi, there are a lot of people. Like, I spent a lot of my life in New Delhi, and I've met some of and they are just local businesses and local shops, like the good shop, like jewelries. I have friends who are working jewelries. I have people who have import and export business. So I would say that there are a lot of rich people.
So what would be the best way to make money in India?
The best, like if you go for the legal ways or like the good ways of business.
What are the illegal ways?
The illegal ways?
Yeah, illegal ways.
Corruption.
Well, come on. I mean, if it's look at it this way: if it's some payment just for making some process faster, I wouldn't consider it a corrupt.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely not equality towards all the people who need the process,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I mean, because in Latvia, for instance, we have, and in many other countries, I would imagine you have seen the same. We have state-funded medical care,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But most people go to private clinics.
Yeah.
Right.
I know that.
I mean, they still pay, even though the government says, well, you could basically get it
Yeah.
according to this, either for free or for a low fee,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
either the time or whatever, or the quality is not there,
Yeah.
so people go and pay.
Yeah. But the thing that I would say is that for you, it might not be a big problem because I don't see the Europeans or Latvia as a corrupt state. But
Dude, we come from Soviet Union.
But like in India, like it's become such a problem that even if you're doing it for just not doing it in a very negative way and you're just doing it too fast in the process, you still become part of the whole mess that you've created. Because after one point of time, it starts to feel that there is actually no law and everybody's just trying to.
But wait a second. If somebody would have, let's say, an argument with somebody and hurt him,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be legal, right?
Yeah.
They would be illegal.
Yeah.
So, and you say you can get your way out of that mess by
could.
paying?
Yeah, you could.
All right. All right.
Yeah. But like you have to be rich and powerful for that.
But what is in that instance rich? I mean, European rich or rich?
Indian
I mean,
rich. Yeah.
No. I mean, if I would take my salary, let's say if I have 1,000 euros, right, to spend,
Yeah.
I could probably buy more stuff in India than in Latvia, right?
Yeah, of course.
Am I right?
Of course. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would be a little bit more rich.
You probably would be
Right.
really more rich if you just look at the international scale of things, but if still a lot of people in India are as rich as the rest of the world. But then again, I won't say everybody, because I think like the major thing about the economics of India is the huge gap between the incomes of the people. Because in here, I don't really think like people. I've talked to a lot of people, and they actually believe that there is a gap between the economies, or a gap between the income levels of the people. But I don't really see it. It is there probably, but it's not as huge as India.
Oh, you mean in Latvia or in Europe?
In Europe, as in general.
Yeah. I mean in Europe, because it used to be the case in Western Europe that let's say business managers and high executives had a sort of a salary cap, right?
Yeah.
They had a maximum they could actually afford. Yeah, they could actually earn a certain maximum amount, and then the rest, if they would like to have more, it had to be compensated through some form of capital share deals or something like that, which would basically mean, all right, if you provide enough value, you are worth it to have some, I don't know, shares in the company as payment, right?
Yeah.
But most of that, as far as I know, is gone for, I don't know, at least some 15 years.
Yeah.
So that's where you saw those instances where, let's say, a bank needed public funding because otherwise they would go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And then next year the bankers pay the managers bonuses.
Yeah.
Right. So and everybody is just, what? you took public money and then you just pay out bonuses.
That's true.
Right.
But again, it's like in here you have a tax rate which is almost 50% for after a certain income, right? Like in Germany.
Maybe in Germany, but in Latvia, well, I mean, it depends how you look at it. One tax at 50%, no, but combined in certain cases might be the case that you can actually make the argument for it. But it's not. I mean, America has really high taxes. Denmark, many Scandinavian countries, Germany, yes, but we don't have low taxes, that's for sure, but I wouldn't say 50%. It's just that it depends how you structure your income, I guess. If you are a salaried person, you probably pay the most tax, but that's, I guess, everywhere in the world.
But in India it's usually just like after a certain income, which is still very middle class, up till being filthy rich, it's the same scale. So
not bad. Doesn't sound bad.
But like that is one of the. But like I think like if I compare it with the scale that one of my friends from Germany told me, and like some of the people around those regions, they still have another scale, which is just to curb. Or just to take more taxes from the people who. But
most of it is for active income, though, right? So it means that the people who have those type of salaries, they are usually fairly intelligent to figure out how to avoid any useless or burdensome tax rates, right? So
that's true.
Because I mean, if you would be a manager and you just try the math, right, and say, all right, I could get 10,000 and deduce, let's say, 3,000 in taxes, or I can get a salary of 11,000 and deduce 4,000 or 500 in taxes. Right. So I want the extra 1,000, but I don't want the extra taxes. So we'll figure it out. Right. I would imagine that's the usual, because in Latvia they introduced 2 years ago a new tax for high earners. So there was the usual tax that you pay for every wage, but then if your wage is so high, which would be, I don't know, maybe 5,000 euros per month and above, something like that, then you pay another tax rate, and that's called the solidarity tax. because and the funny thing is, usually let's say the social tax is related to having some sort of guarantees for you, right? You pay that from your wage,
Yeah.
and then you may get some benefits since it's a social tax,
Right.
right? And then the solidarity tax was the same rate as the social tax, but no guarantees. It's just you just pay from your salary back because you earn so much.
Because you earn so much.
Yeah, and I honestly, I don't dislike the idea of having a differentiated tax rate for income, but I honestly didn't like the fact that it was just because the government has no clue how to get money.
Yeah.
Other than, all right, so we need to raise taxes, lower benefits,
Yeah.
right? And it's so silly.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the 21st century. Everybody could actually Google, read books,
Yeah.
and educate themselves on how to actually try to make something happen in the long term,
Yeah.
right?
You're right.
But what they do is introduce a new tax, a new tax reform or something like that,
Yeah.
and maybe 2 years later, either the Constitutional Court gets them with some form of formality or a real issue, or they just happen to figure out something even more stupid, and then they go with that. Because I mean, I don't kid you. The past 10 years have been just awkward when it comes to the tax law in Latvia.
Yeah.
You just see the aim of they want to have more tax income. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
But the ways how they want to do that, so we take a little bit from there, and then you need to have a little bit more here, but then again, so
Yeah, that's
it's
true. I
it
understand
becomes
that.
complicated and complicated,
Yeah.
and 2 years come around and they annul that
Yeah.
and make something different because that didn't really work that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I started noticing it there when I all of a sudden had to pay a flat rate for a company that I had registered many years ago, right? But I didn't really use actively.
Okay.
So I registered. I don't know in which year. So I registered. I paid all the needed taxes and fees for registering and publishing that it's registered, all of that, right? So now it's just registered at the registry company, a company registry, and that's it, right? It just stays there, and when I need it, I can use it just to, I don't know, write out an invoice or whatever, right? But I didn't use it regularly, so I didn't have regular income in that company, right?
Yeah.
And one year they started to introduce flat rate, so all of those who don't have income tax payments have to pay just a flat rate, right? It's
okay.
like it's almost like
I got it.
it's almost like a rent because you have a registered company,
Yeah.
right? So it's just silly.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, I can just close that one down. I don't need it that bad,
Yeah.
but it's just stupid.
It's stupid. Yeah.
It's totally
That
stupid
doesn't make sense.
because it doesn't make any
Yeah.
costs for the government at all.
Because I think all around the world, the tax that you pay is actually just on the income, and that's it.
Well, the value
the-
you add, that would be the most beneficial for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, people like to have the sense of economic growth.
Yeah.
Let's say 10 years have passed from the great financial crisis, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem that people have become smarter.
Of course. But
No, look, when I look at my generation, your generation, I have some hope.
yeah, that's
Right.
true.
But when it comes to all those people who are 10 years earlier, let's say in some middle income type of jobs,
Yeah.
they're still in those middle type of jobs, and maybe they are put forward for some new reform plans or whatever, but they haven't become smarter
Yeah.
or more able.
And probably, I think that one of the reasons that you feel it and I feel it is because of the particular countries we come from. Because both for you and me, we have like the generation just before us, they were still a bit more in a makeshift position, you would say, because you and I grew up in the environment where the country was, you could say, growing or more.
Sure.
And we just grew up on more good facts or proper education and a more better view of the world. And the ones who were there before were still in a more struggling phase.
But don't get me wrong, I'm not giving props to any school now.
Yeah.
I mean, my education, which would be useful education,
Yeah.
that comes from just being around the
true.
right people,
Yeah.
growing up with the
Yeah.
right people.
And but I meant actually that the same. That we had access to more resources and access to more. Yeah.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
more
And
knowledge
that is
and
more,
skills.
more actually. I think that is more helpful than just education. Like being around people, like you said, and having internet and having the ability to study or to research facts as you want. And we certainly had that better than, let's say, our parents did.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But see, that's the funny thing. At one point in time, there will be the shift, right? Because those old ones will go
Yeah.
into retirement.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like even some young people have really paid attention. I mean,
Of course.
it's because now it's funny, right? You have sometimes you see on the internet the memes about what a millennial is doing at a job application or
Yeah.
a job interview,
Yeah.
right? But the basic point is really that you had the switch, right? We have more access, more freedom, more opportunities,
Yeah.
and then some of the people just use that to look at more cat videos, right, on
That's
the
true.
internet.
That's true. But I think like that's not just that's everywhere, because if you look at even in America, like I don't think they had any problems that we faced. Like they don't have the gender shift issue.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people from there actually are doing nothing. But then still they have some of the people are really like thinking about it, thinking forward and thinking how can they can make a better impact or make their lives the way they want. But again, there's a big percent that doesn't care.
See, yeah, now we're talking a bit different when it comes to culture, because I think when you would go to Switzerland or Finland,
Yeah.
you might see something different.
All right.
I would imagine,
Yeah.
because those people are living quite nice,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't really matter which generation you're talking about,
Okay.
right? It seems to me that they are the best ones who have figured out how to apply new opportunities, but still have the old-fashioned style of doing it effectively.
All right.
But maybe it's just my guess.
It could be like these countries are known for being efficient and being forward thinking.
Which is weird because I don't know anything other than Nokia for Finland,
Yeah.
right? But Nokia is not really a major player in the mobile
Not
business anymore,
No.
right? But yeah, but they still have pretty nice economic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what from what.
Yeah, and I don't think like it's necessary that you need like global players to actually signify your importance. They could just like even a person who's just a carpenter, if he's doing his job properly and understanding how he can do not just impact the whole society, but just to make his job better than he did it 3 years back, is properly doing it properly. What do you say that?
I think the carpenters have always been quite the same. Well, because it's
That's just an expression of saying that it's you don't have to just impact the whole world. It's just on your particular sphere, that if you're willing to grow and taking it really seriously and thinking how I could do it better is what makes a difference.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I would guess that that's related to some cultural aspects.
Yeah, upbringing, culture, the way you pick up from the society. Yeah, that's true.
And that's why I thought that Indians sort of have a real hunger for some success, some wealth.
Yeah, for wealth, for success, for making things better. But like you said, there is still a good proportion.
And for web development, of course.
for being software engineers. That's true. But yeah, like you said, there are still some people who are just slacking, and the other ones are pretty determined. Yeah.
Am I right that Indian people are more comical in everyday situations?
In India, I think like there are certain situations that you have to develop a sense of humor to get by them. Because if I see my friends from Germany or England being in those situations and being in a daily life Indian thing, they wouldn't take it. If you have to be a bit more funny about it, just to face it every day and But yeah, I think Indians could be a bit more comical. Yes.
You know what?
Yeah.
Once an Indian had some rug with him, and for praying.
Right.
So yeah, and he had also those. I'm not sure how to call them. Those weird smelling sticks.
Yeah. All right.
Is it related also to Hinduism?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Not the rug, but probably he's just carrying it for some reason, for praying. But the sticks, yes. How do you call them in English? Incense sticks.
I think it is incense, but I'm not sure what
yeah.
that means.
Yeah,
Incense.
me neither. Yeah. But I think that's what they're called in English. But yeah, that's a part of. My mom uses them, and it gives me a headache sometimes because of the fumes.
But what's the purpose of smelling that type of fumes?
I think like it's said that it just like purifies the aura because of its smell and the smoke. That's what they say. And to be honest, it does smell pretty good at times, but then at times it's just too overpowering. Yeah.
Because I honestly thought that it might be related historically, when let's say people had less chances to bathe, so they smelled a little bit funny, right? So you just turn those suckers, and then it's the incense, dude. It's the incense.
I'm probably sure it's like the older way of like being a room freshener. That's probably that it was, and it's still being carried around. And now it has a cultural meaning to it because it's sold. Yeah.
So what are your aims? You are now studying business?
Yeah, I'm studying business.
In France, would you like to have a business degree and then go back to India? Or would you like to actually have a business degree and go somewhere else in Europe or the Western countries? Or would you like to abandon your studies and do nothing?
For me right now, my plan is to just see as much of the rest of the world as I can see, and getting education from Europe and is a part of it. And I think like for the next some of the years, my aim would be to just go to a different country than India, and it could be anywhere, like wherever I can find myself.
Have you been to China?
No, but I would definitely love to. But it is one of the, and there are a lot of opportunities in Hong Kong and Singapore, Shanghai, but even I would love to see myself in Western Europe or even in Asia, but not go to India as of in the next 4 or 5 years, and probably after that I could see myself there. But for me right now, I'm really enjoying the traveling aspect or the international aspect of things, and that's what I want to develop more. I want to get better in both the languages that I'm studying right now, and then be able to apply them in my career as well.
Why would you need German?
In India, because we have such a big outsourcing culture right now, and it could be really helpful in India as well, and not just in India. Even if I'm working in Europe, I think knowing German is really good.
Because honestly, if I think about, let's say, business or something related to selling in Germany, I always just think of was it a comic sketch? I don't know, but always when Germans talk about some stereotypical Indian stuff, they come with up the "Wolle Rose coffin," right? And which is, do you want to buy the flowers right on the street?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure whether Indian street sellers exist that much. But that was definitely a running joke.
Yeah.
in Germany.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, these are the two languages that I want to get better in, and then later on be able to apply them. Because even if I just talk about India and not about my career in the rest of the world and just India, I think knowing the languages is a pretty good deal.
Could you actually, for laughs and giggles, could you actually go to Germany and say that you are a Syrian refugee?
Probably they would believe it. Yeah, they would probably believe it. Yeah. That's very funny because once I was in Budapest and I just met a kebab seller because I was having kebabs, and he was from Afghanistan, and he said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Because I'm traveling and I love to travel." And he said, "You are taking really, really complex ways of traveling. And he just said, I am from Kashmir and I'm a refugee, and they gave me like 2 years of residence. I said, yeah, that's sufficient.
Nice.
And then he just started like abandoned his job and started explaining me how I could just go to Kashmir and make a fake domicile of the area, and he knew some people who would do that for me, and how I could just come to Hungary or any of those countries and just stay there for 2 years. I said, okay, if nothing else works, I'm probably coming back to you.
Did you ask him how he decided to stay in Hungary? Because that's not really the wealthiest country in the world either.
Yeah, I'm really not sure, but probably that was the only country that bought into his into his old gimmick.
Well, I think Hungary has a quite strict.
Yeah, that's true. That was something that I was.
They're not really friendly towards immigrants.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know how he did it. But yeah,
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Was it a long time ago
2 years back.
when he did that, or when you met him?
When I met him, it was 2 years back. But he did it very recently, so probably between 2014 and 2016, he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he owns a shop.
At that point of time when I met him, he owned a shop, a kebab shop. Yeah.
Is it profitable?
I have no idea, but he seems to be happy. He was like recommending me, and
So, but wait a second. If you have been around so much, you probably have seen lots of places where Indians own some shops, right?
yeah, like a lot of. I had this running joke with my friend that whenever we were like traveling around Europe, whenever we saw a departmental store, we made a joke and guessed if the next shop would be owned by an Indian or a Pakistani.
Cool.
And then we would just go and just try to buy things and just ask them like, hey, are you from Pakistan or India? And then we would like make points.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of them actually just own so many kebab shops or departmental stores.
But India has nothing in relation to kebab in general, right?
We have our own kebabs, but they are very
really?
different from the ones we have in Europe. Yeah.
So because a Turkish dude would probably tell you, no, we have kebabs, right?
Yeah. I think like the kebabs that you have in Europe are more Turkish. Yeah. They have a more Turkish feel to them. But the ones in India are totally different.
So what's the difference?
First of all, they're not given. The ones in India are not given in the buns, like are not enclosed.
Only a few are in the buns. Most of them are wrapped.
Yeah, they're not even wrapped. They are just like the meat, and it's like grilled.
So it's not but then it's just meat.
Yeah, but that's what we call kebabs. Like India, Pakistan, like the subcontinent. That's what we call the kebab.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
So
that's a
kebab
totally
is just the
different
meat.
Yeah.
No, all right. So what?
Yeah.
But don't you wrap it?
No, we don't. You could use sometimes.
Because
You
it's
could
more convenient. It's really convenient.
Yeah, but otherwise you would just take a fork or like a stick and just eat it like this because it's chopped into small pieces.
Yeah. I mean, the meat is probably the same, right?
No, it's not. Like it's in here. It's sliced.
Yeah. Because it's
Yeah.
rotates and then you just
in
cut
India,
them down.
it's a totally different thing. You could just see it on the internet, but
Indian kebab.
yeah.
All right. Let's see what the internet has to offer. Indian kebab.
Yeah.
Looks like shashlik.
I don't even know what that is, but
Let's just see if Wikipedia knows what shashlik is. Shashlik
yeah, that's
is a dish of skewered and grilled cubes of meat, similar to or synonymous with shish kebab.
shish kebab. Yeah.
It is known traditionally by various other names in the Caucasus and Central Asia, and from the 19th century became popular as shashlik across much of the Russian Empire. Look at that, man.
I'm pretty sure that. Yeah.
Shish kebab is basically shashlik. All right.
Yeah. I'm like all these regions have such
So which one is the kebab you were talking about?
all of these are like different kebabs you can get in India.
So you meant shish kebab?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But like all these countries going from let's say not Turkey, but Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, all of them, and up till Afghanistan and Pakistan and India.
What's with the stans?
Stan just means country.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
In which language?
I have no idea. Probably Urdu or something like one of these Islamic languages. But like Pakistan means stan means country. Pak means purity. So it just means pure.
Purity?
Yeah, it means a pure country.
Really? Pakistan is a little bit newer than India, right?
No, they both of them like
Oh, they were made at the same time?
yeah because
Somehow I thought first became India,
No.
and then they chopped a part of India away and made
no,
Pakistan.
they were one country which was ruled by the Britishers, but when the Britishers left, they divided into two countries and left,
Ah.
and that created all the problem.
So would it be better to have one?
In my opinion, yes, but people have their own opinions about everything. So in my opinion, it would be better to just have one, because historically for the last 3,000 years it has been one. In the last 50
Oh,
years,
really?
yeah,
But how did they come to the Islam religion then?
because Islam came from Arab in the last 1,000 years,
All right.
and then after that, because of the whole politics of it, because of the Britishers, they just wanted, because the Indian freedom movement was gaining so much support and so much aggression, they decided that to like make people believe that Muslims are different than Hindus and you are not actually one country, and just to make them focus their attention on other things.
Well, I mean, yeah, we established, right, that they are a bit different,
Yeah, they are a different.
but they are the same persons, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Because they probably had some families just dividing across
Yeah.
the border.
They
right?
are different religions, but surely they can coexist within a nation. Like just like if we make a comparison with the American situation, like they have the African Americans and then the white people.
Yeah.
They genetically they are different people, and
Wait a second. Those are racially different people.
Yeah, but here
But
it's
you
not
racially are the
it's-
same, right?
Yeah, it's racially same, but it's in this case it's not races, it's religion which divides them, because they have their own practices, we have our own practices,
Yeah.
but it's nothing that could cause one to not coexist with other,
Mhm.
because in India we still have both of them, and there are so many other religions. So
But they're not
It's not- it's
not
not-
as popular, then, right?
yeah, Hinduism is the biggest.
So what's the funniest religion in India?
Funniest religion?
Let's say,
Sikhism is one of the ones which is made like the butt of all the jokes usually.
but do they have millions of followers?
A lot of them actually, yes. The Sikhs, you probably know, the ones with the turbans in the head.
Ah, yeah, right. Those with the snakes, also, right? Or don't they?
No, nobody has snakes. That's just a stereotype.
I thought. Wait a second. But those are not Arabs, right? Those are Indian stereotypes. You have the towel around your
No,
head.
that's the Arabs. The
Really?
one with the towel, the one which is flowing down, is the Arabs.
Yeah,
But the one which is tied up like
yeah.
in this manner is an Sikh Indian.
Oh, and I thought those are the ones who also summoned the snake from
That's-
the jar.
That is something that Indians used to do like 200 years back, but I don't.
Oh, they did that?
Yeah.
For what?
It's just an entertainment.
Just to
thing.
establish some cartoon character for us. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, probably. But like I haven't seen one of those ever. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's-
So
it's
so
just a
what do the
stereotype.
6 Indians do?
Nothing. They're pretty. normal.
Looking just chubby.
Yeah, that's true. They are chubby and they're pretty friendly people. They are nice people. They are the best people ever. But they are like every country or every place has some race or some religion which is just made the butt of all jokes.
But
So-
what's the funniest thing about them?
Nothing actually. They're just very funny. But we have a joke going around in India, like because we have made them the center of all the jokes. There is a joke that in India, like whenever the clock strikes 12, a Sikh goes mad.
A Sikh goes mad?
Yeah, he just goes chaotic in his head. And
Why?
because when the Sikhs were fighting the Britishers to get off, they usually had a timing. The attack timing was 12 o'clock, so they would just leave everything, bring out their swords, and just start fighting. So
Is it true?
That's true. Yeah.
Why? Why 12?
I don't know. It was some military thing that at 12 they made some really important like fights or started really important strategic fights at 12 o'clock, it was a signal that as the clock strikes 12, we'll all start.
Ah.
So it just became a butt of the joke that, whenever some of my friend in India who's a Sikh is doing something stupid,
Mhm.
we would say, dude, it's not 12 yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah,
Good one.
yeah. But it's funny, yeah.
And so, who are some religions who, let's say, do some weird rituals?
Probably all of them. Like
Really?
Hinduism, I told you about it. Islam is pretty still staunch everywhere. It is a very conservative religion.
I don't know why, but drinking cow piss doesn't seem too radical.
Doesn't?
I don't know why, but yeah, it
For
doesn't.
me, it was.
Do- I mean, but it's not a mandatory
No, it's
thing,
not.
right?
No, it's not.
You can be Hindu and not drink cow piss.
Yeah, but if you go to a very orthodox area and say, I'm not doing that, there might be a couple of people who will be offended.
All right.
But like for my family and a lot of all the other families that I know who are still Hindus, we could just say, I'm not doing that, and they'll be, of course, that's reasonable to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, not. I could see like Varanasi. I could see a lot of people over there getting
Is that a city or was it? What is it?
Varanasi. It's a city. It's considered the oldest city in the world, which is still
Really?
going the way it was. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So it has, for that reason, it has a lot of religious connections with it. It's the oldest city. It's probably one of the places where they say Hinduism was kind of born or took its place, and it hasn't been restructured or renovated. It has been this way for thousands of years.
Actually, didn't have India something to do with Buddha as well?
Yeah, Buddha was born in India.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have quite
So
a
why
healthy-
did the Chinese steal it from you?
because Buddhism is they didn't steal it.
He was Indian, right?
It wasn't India at that time, but it was a region which is presently India, because India at that time was divided into certain kingdoms.
Because I thought Buddha. The story of Buddha is
Yeah.
that he was the son of a king,
Yeah, that's true.
and so he didn't really see anything outside of his court.
Yeah,
But then he wanted to see, and he saw some misery outside,
yeah, that's true.
and so he abandoned all his fortune.
Yeah, that's true. And that was in India, like present day India.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Chinese took it, and Japanese took it, and a lot of Southeast Asian countries took it, because Buddhism from India, the messengers spread out to a lot of other countries, and so
But see, if Jesus would have been totally like a Negro, right, with an afro
yeah,
and full black skin,
yeah,
I don't think anybody in Europe would have become Christian.
that's true. That's then probably
I think most people associate with some religions just because they are related physically.
they can feel related, but then probably Buddhism had a very good marketing strategy.
So, but at one point Buddha became fat?
No, I don't think so.
Because it's usually the statue of Buddha is a
Yeah.
fat dude sitting around looking like a fat Chinese, right?
You're right, but that's not Buddha. That's something they derived out of Buddha. But the actual Buddha is that's a laughing Buddha.
A laughing Buddha?
Yeah, in India.
But it's the same Buddha, just laughing, right?
No, it's not. It's a totally different character.
So why is the laughing Buddha totally different?
I don't know what.
Would a frowning Buddha be totally skinny?
The other one is so serious, like the one which is actually the Gautam Buddha, which is the god in Buddhism.
Hmm.
He has a totally different physical appearance, but the other thing, he's probably another character from Buddhism, and I don't know how it comes.
I would imagine that the Asians invented the fat Buddha
could probably
because they like fat people, right?
No, I don't think so. They're really.
At least I thought that about Japanese people, that they like fat people.
No, I would say they're really slim.
No, they themselves, of course, yes. Yeah, this one doesn't say anything much. What's a Buddha Graha? Yeah, nothing. Buddha, what? Buddha in Puranic Hindu mythology is also a deity. Or maybe I should just...
You
Filmmaker, scholar...
could just say Buddha.
Or maybe I should just Buddhism.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one that is
Standing
supposed to be
Buddha.
The original Buddha. The guy with like his hair tied up in the top.
Looks Chinese, don't you think?
No, he's from India.
Oh, and so comparable ones can be found in the Musée Guimet in France. Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't look Indian.
Doesn't?
Doesn't. At all. Alright, so this is supposed to be the Buddha, right?
Yeah.
Alright. The Emerald Buddha. Oh, alright. So what's up with the fat Buddha then?
I have no clue where that thing came from, but we have that in India as well. He sells a lot of trophy statues.
Buddhai
Yeah, this guy.
is a semi-historical monk, as well as deity who was introduced into the Zen Buddhist pantheon. Oh, so that's another one. It's not the same Buddha. It's a Buddhai.
All right.
Damn. The Chinese just making plagiates of everything.
Yeah.
So this one's then just totally Asian.
Probably, yeah.
Full clip. Alright. But it's still weird.
Of course it is.
Second alternative Chinese name Fat Buddha, and alternative Chinese name Laughing Buddha.
Yeah, in India we just call him Laughing Buddha. We have a lot of pictures of it. It's supposed to bring good luck. So my mom, being pretty religious, even though she's not a Buddhist, she just keeps buying them.
Oh, so he is the symbol of Buddhism.
Yeah.
Your mother is Hindu,
Yeah.
but she buys the symbol of Buddhism for her luck in Hinduism.
For her luck in general, because
Come on.
yeah, because it's just considered lucky, and she just buys it. She'll probably buy a cross as well. She's just like,
Then she has no morals whatsoever.
yeah, she's not like really
You
loyal to
should stick
Hinduism.
to your team.
Yeah, she's not loyal to her things. Yeah.
Do you have in Hinduism also monks?
Yeah, priests, not monks.
Priests.
Yeah,
So also churches,
temples.
temples.
Yeah. But they are almost the same. Like they don't get
Wait a
married.
second. Which one was the most famous temple in the world?
The Hindu temple.
Well, at least in India, right?
There are quite
The
a few.
Maharaj, no. How was it called? The Taj Mahal.
No, Taj Mahal is not a temple.
So what is it?
It's a tomb. Yeah,
It's a tomb?
yeah. One of the kings.
Looks like a palace.
Yeah, it's a tomb made by one of the Muslim Islamic rulers in the 16th or the 15th century, where one of his wives died, and he loved her so much that he built it up for her, and she has her tomb inside it.
So is it in India?
Yeah, it's in the northern part of India. It's quite close to New Delhi.
All right. So you have some big influences from Arabic rulers.
Yeah, because we have been ruled by Islamic rulers for like 4 to 500 years, and they essentially they came from Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, from those regions, and those regions even at that time were really Arabic or really Islamic. So we still have a lot of. Before that, we had Hindu rulers. So from there, we have a lot of Hindu culture, Hindu architecture, Hindu. After that, it was Islamic, and after Islam, it was Britishers.
So what's in Hindu architecture like? If that's all
Islamic.
Islamic.
Yeah.
So what's Hindu as?
Right now, we don't really have a lot of Hindu things remaining because it's more than 1500 years back that the Hindus ruled. So at present, we don't really. I don't think we have anything remaining from that region which is still alive and going. We still like the ones that you'd probably see. The one famous buildings would probably just be from the Islamic era or just from the British era.
Damn, it's quite confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very multicultural thing. Like, and 80% of the people are still Hindus.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like Hinduism would be successful in marketing.
Yeah, that's true.
It sounds like all those those people who want to scam Europeans, those are more successful
Yeah, they are.
in making some stuff up just to say, yeah, that's totally religious. That's legit.
Yeah, but because they are 80% of them are still Hindus, so when a Westerner just comes there, the thing that he's probably just gonna witness is Hinduism because it's still 80%.
Also, I think the most pronounced thing about Hinduism is that the cows roam around freely.
That's true. It's not Hinduism. It's India. Yeah, in
No,
India.
no, but come on, you have probably people who just eat cows, right?
In India, it's you don't really eat cows. It's right now.
Wait a second. If you would be just a European in India, wouldn't you be able to get some nice beef burger?
No, not a burger. You really have to go to some shady places where they're still doing it, making it, but you probably wouldn't go there. India doesn't have beef, and right now it is
What?
a big. No, India doesn't have beef, and it is
Even for those who don't follow the religion of
no,
Hinduism?
that's what the whole at this present moment there is a big political crisis or political debate going on in India if the beef should be banned or not.
No.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah, it shouldn't
But
be banned.
But it's not banned as
It
of
is
now.
banned. It is banned.
Oh,
Yeah, but there like the Muslims.
silly Indians.
Yeah, the Muslims they eat beef, but because Hindus are 80% and they just enforce their opinions on everybody else.
So what do they do to the Muslims who eat beef?
Firstly, it's not available. Secondly, there have been cases that the people who were eating beef were like killed by the crowd.
Really?
Yeah, and that's what like brought up the whole debate. But like in states like in Kerala, there's a state called Kerala in the south. I think they have beef quite openly. So it's one state, but then the rest of India, which is Hindu, just hates them for just having beef. But that's probably the only state in and some in the northeast which have beef and they can eat it without like feeling unsafe about it.
So wait a second. So what was your upbringing like? What kind of meat did you eat?
Me, like at the moment I eat anything. I don't even ask what it is. Like, but growing up, in my family doesn't consume beef, and my family consumes chicken. That's good for them, and like mutton, like sheep and
Mhm.
goat. They do it. Fishes they eat, but not beef. And pork is not actually illegal, but it's still not a part of the culture. We could get pork here and there, but you won't really see pork being sold everywhere because it's not still a part of the Indian culture for some reason. We don't get pork a lot.
Too messy?
I have no clue, but beef is the thing which is a no for a lot of people.
It's interesting.
Yeah, my mom doesn't appreciate me eating beef, but I still do it anyways.
Oh, so she would like you to not eat
Yeah,
beef,
because she's Hindu.
but using let's say dairy products, all fine.
Dairy products is holy. That's funny.
In a sense that you are supposed to eat them.
Yeah, that's considered a good part of being an Hindu identity that you're drinking milk and
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, because they consider it as a gift from the cow, or you could say that. So they just eat a lot of dairy products, but not the meat.
It's I don't know why, but it's somehow difficult to imagine Indians using a lot of dairy products because it seems so Scandinavian almost.
Now Indians do usually have a lot.
But I guess it's a different sort of product that you use. Do you, let's say in India, is pasteurization common?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I would imagine that you just have nice fresh milk.
No, pasteurization is still done. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, of course. And then we have like
No, well, come on. Not of course. I mean, 150 years ago, it wasn't around,
yeah,
probably.
it wasn't there. But right now, I'm like every time I'm consuming milk, I'm assuming it's pasteurized. I don't question if it's pasteurized or not. I assume that.
Because now, I mean, in Europe and America, people actually want to go back with non-pasteurized milk.
I don't really get it. I don't know.
Well, the main argument would be that it's more healthy.
I don't know, but because I've been brought up this way, or I would only feel safe with pasteurized milk.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, in India, like the milk that we get, I think is quite pasteurized. Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, anyway, I guess India would be a topic you could actually discuss for hours and hours.
Yeah.
But what would you say? What is the main point somebody should take away when talking about India? Worthwhile to visit,
It is.
but maybe avoid some dirty places.
Yeah, I think like what I keep saying to a lot of people is just for when you visit India, you should know what you're getting into firstly, and always when you're coming to India, always expect an adventure and not a vacation like you're in Switzerland or you get the
Well,
difference.
Why not? Why not?
Because if you're coming in for adventure, you'll get it for sure. You'll see a lot of crowds. You'll see things not going the way you planned.
Mhm.
And if you take it in your stride, and this is a part of the experience for you, when you're going back, you'll be, yeah, I did that. But if you're expecting yourself to just be lazy and just relax in a place,
Yep.
either you'll have to spend a lot of money to go to the best resorts.
For European standards, a lot of money. Or for Indian,
For Indian standard, but like if even when the Europeans come to India, they expect it to be really cheap.
yes.
But if they really seek like really comfortable things, and then the total sum up would be something quite expensive, which is not expected out of India usually.
Yeah.
So if you really want those, then you would have to spend a lot more than you would usually spend in India. But if you really just want an adventure or just see how India is, then you should actually just expect it to go wrong at times, and then
Well,
you'll
yeah.
probably enjoy it more.
You mean just getting into that trouble without any, without too much stressing?
Yeah, you like when you're coming, you should know this is what I'm gonna face, not be like, oh, it's gonna be all easy and simple, and I'm just gonna go to my hotel and
Yeah.
yeah, things are I can say that it for your European standards and the way things work in Europe, as much as I've seen, it's not gonna go the way it would go if you were in Europe. So expect that and just see that, oh, I did it.
I survived.
I survived that. And then because it's those people that even when I was backpacking around India, these were the ones who were having the most fun.
Define fun.
These were the ones who were having the most laughs. These were the ones who when they went back, they were like, man, I love India. And the ones who I think like who were really uptight about it, that I can't really deal with this, they were the ones who were like, I'm going back in the next 10 days.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like because I would imagine a plane ticket to India is not really cheap.
Yeah, it won't be. It's like, how would I say? If you book it well in advance, you could get one in 350 euros, 400 euros.
What?
Yeah.
For 100 euros?
No, 300 euros.
Ah,
Yeah, 300, 400 euros. But if you like book it like 3 months in advance,
mm-hmm.
yeah, you could get that. That's like the lower limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you suppose that actually going with a ship might be a better solution?
I've never seen anybody coming with a ship. But I'm not
How
sure.
how long would that take? Because you would actually get through the Suez Canal, right?
Yeah, the Suez Canal, and then yeah, probably just the Suez Canal. But yeah, I have no clue. I've never ever like considered that option, as I don't really even know how the ships work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. All right. Anyway, it's been almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
That went fast. Yeah.
well, anyway, if you're around in Latvia again, you can let me know. We can
For sure.
we can continue about travels in India.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So let me just